What's up, everybody? I wanted to make a video on genetics, or is it genetically modified foods? I was thinking today while I was in the grocery store, trying to find as healthy as stuff as you can. You're always grabbing some snacky cakes or something you shouldn't every once in a while. But I was thinking, when I got to the milk aisle, and where the milk aisle is, like right behind that, where I go shopping, is like candy and cookies and kind of like, fatty cakes. And I was thinking to myself, I remember staying with my great grandmother a few times. I'm almost 50, so, we're talking 100 years ago. So when I was probably, 10, something like that, 10, 11, 12 maybe, I would go hang out with my great grandma sometimes, who lived out in the middle of nowhere, no electricity. She just had propane. Never had the lights on though. Didn't have a restroom, had an outhouse. And she chewed snuff. Right? I know people usually snort the snuff, but back in the day, she chewed snuff since she was 14 years old. And as long as I knew her, right? So this would be the, early 80s. She always had, and back in the day, food was different, you know what I mean? Like cookies and candy bars were like this long, right? And like that fat. And the cookies that she would eat were like this big around, dude. They're bigger than my head. And she would eat a giant sugar cookie for breakfast, a giant sugar cookie for lunch, and a giant sugar cookie for dinner. And she'd have black coffee with it every time. And I don't remember her eating anything else, right? There wasn't a lot of takeout back then. We didn't go out to eat a lot back then. I can honestly tell you, I never lived in an air-conditioned house till I was in my 20s. But that's a different story. But I was just trying to think. She didn't have health problems, right? She didn't have diabetes. She didn't take insulin shots. She didn't take medications. I never seen her pop pills. And she lived to be 100 years old. 100, eating sugar cookies and drinking black coffee. And then I started thinking about my grandpa, her son. This man fried chicken in butter and ate out constantly, right? Every time I go over there, let's go get a hamburger and a bowl of chili. I guess that was the thing back in the day. For some reason, a hamburger and a bowl of chili. If you ever, ask your parents about their parents. And he ate cookies. He would get up in the middle of the night. I remember staying at his house, middle of the night. He'd go to the fridge and he'd sit down at the table and he'd pull out a thing of bologna and a thing of bread, and he'd put a piece of bologna in the bread and he'd just eat it, right? And he'd eat like 3 or 4 of those. Never had any problems until he got into his later 80s. Okay? My grandpa, World War II was in Korea. Or no, I'm sorry, he's in World War II, he's in the Philippines. That's where he's stationed. Got shot up on the battlefield, sewed up his stomach like a sack of potatoes, right? His stomach literally looked like that. It was like inverted. Set him up on the battlefield. Dude got 3 Bronze Stars. We're pretty proud of him for that. Ate like garbage, man. Right? Shot up, ate like trash, lived to be 89 years old. 89. His mom, 100, him 89. My uncle, one of his sons, of course, I've never seen this man drink water a day in his life. Ever. Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper, fried chicken. Fried chicken, Dr. Pepper, fried chicken. That's his favorite thing to eat. Like, if you can give this man anything he wants to eat every day, it'd be fried chicken. And he eats like that, right? I mean, sure, he worked. He was on his feet a lot. But he is like 76 now? 77? Something like that? Right? Like, what the hell? Here I am. I must have some, hopefully I've got more good things than my father. I never knew my father. He left before I was born, but I feel like I just have a little too much chocolate and I freak out and have anxiety. I eat the wrong thing and I get heart fluttering. So is it our genetics, right, that makes us live longer? And I think it's this genetically modified food that's making us live shorter lives. And they tell you that over the years, life expectancy has gone up, right? Since you're like, if you Google what is the life expectancy of someone in the 1900s, they'll tell you 40, 45, maybe 50. But if you start really looking at the people who lived back then, like Thomas Jefferson, 1700s, like sorry, not the 19, if you look at like the 1800s, like what the life expectancy was in the 1700s, the 1800s, they'll tell you 40 in your 40s. But like I said, Thomas Jefferson lived in his 80s. I'm blanking now that I'm trying to talk about it. What's his nuts? Signed the Benjamin Franklin, 80s. Isaac Newton, 80s. Right? So in a time where everyone's dying in their 40s, these people are living in their 80s, and they didn't have modern medicine. They didn't have high blood pressure pills. They didn't have, everything that they tell you that you need on TV for, blood clots and heart murmurs and AFib and any of that shit. They didn't have none of that stuff back then. So how are they living so long? They told us that cavemen lived to be like 20. And then the early Bronze Ages, people were like 20 and 30 before they died. Are these facts? I mean, because now we can trace history. We can say Thomas Edison, Benjamin Franklin, Andrew Jackson, all these people lived a lot longer than what they're saying people were living, right? And now it seems like the average age of people passing away, that especially, I don't know, my mom died at 69. Yeah, I know she had lung cancer and cancer spread. My wife's father died at 68 or 69. And sure, he had some health issues as well, but her mother didn't have health issues, and she died at like 58. I mean, I want you guys to think about all the people around you that you personally know, and see how old they are, like when they passed. Or, I mean, I've got personal friends. I've got 1, 2, 3 personal friends who died before 50. One was a heart attack, one was a rupture in his stomach over, I know, some organ, and another one had some health issues. But it's like, you can't say that we're living longer now than we ever have. You can't, not in America. It seems like we're going down again. Like, and I'm almost 50 and I feel terrible, man. My back is constantly hurting. I feel like I don't have much movement. Like, there's no way I could do a 100-yard dash right now. There's no way in hell. So what is it? It's got to be our foods. It's got to be what we're choosing to eat. And have you noticed, like, you try to eat healthy, and everything that is healthy is getting recalled? Everything. Like, you try to eat some chicken, it's recalled. Lettuce or salad type of stuff recalled. Vegetables recalled all the time. Constant recalls. And I'm just thinking, it just made me crazy that my great grandma would eat nothing but sugar, and she lived to be 100, and she chewed snuff. My grandpa, eating greasy, buttery, disgusting, fat food, lived to be, and shot up, man, lived to be 90. 89, 90 something, it was close. It was close to, I think it's close to 90. He died on Christmas Eve. It was like, he was born in 21 and he died in 2001. So yeah, like, just insane to me. Insane how we're all dying so early. And I just wondered if you guys remember that, if you guys remember growing up and you're old like me in your 50s. If you remember your grandparents being old, or not eating healthy and like eating out all the time, or just eating junk food, and they lived to be really old. And if you're not old, ask your parents about their parents. Ask them how they were. What'd they eat? Did they eat at home all the time? Was they home cooked meals? Were they super active? But why is it that we seem to be going down in health instead of up. You know what I mean? It's just kind of weird. We have all these medical advancements, and here we are losing life instead of gaining it. And the history books are telling us lies that people lived shorter 200 years ago when they actually seem to have been living longer. So just some food for thought, man. Pun intended. Like, subscribe, please share. Let's grow this channel, man. Help a feeble old man out. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it, though. Shout out.